Hey Sprouts, during the months of June and July, we will not be having new content here on the Catholic Sprouts podcast. Instead, we will be revisiting some of my favorite weeks of content. And here is one of those weeks. Enjoy! You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Wednesday, March 27th, 2019. This week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we are continuing to talk about Jesus Christ as we walk through Lent. This week, we're focusing on his miracles. On Monday, we talked about his first miracle at the wedding feast at Cana, and yesterday we started talking about his healing miracles. Now, there are many examples of healing miracles from the gospel, but yesterday we talked about him healing 2 blind men and how he healed them not only physically, but also spiritually. Today we are going to continue to talk about Jesus' healing miracles with another example. We are going to talk about Jesus healing the woman who suffered from hemorrhage. Now, this is a little story, and it happens on the way to a big story. So what happened is that Jesus hears that there's a young girl who has died. He is in the middle of a large crowd, and he says, "Take me to your house," and he eventually raises this girl from the dead. Now, can you imagine how exciting, how incredible it would be to just be part of that crowd? He's going to raise someone from the dead. This is crazy. Everyone was excited. Whether they believed in Jesus Christ or not, they were excited. They were either going to see a girl risen from the dead, or they were going to see a crazy prophet probably brought to jail for lying. So it was a very exciting crowd to be part of, and you can imagine it was a big crowd. But what happened on the way is also very beautiful. And I'm going to read this to you, taken from the Gospel of Luke. "And a woman afflicted with hemorrhages for 12 years, who had spent her whole livelihood on doctors and was unable to be cured by anyone, came up behind Jesus and touched the tassel on his cloak. Immediately her bleeding stopped. Jesus then asked, 'Who touched me?' While all were denying it, Peter said, 'Master, the crowds are pushing and pressing in upon you.' But Jesus said, 'Someone has touched me, for I know that power has gone out of me.' When the woman realized that she had not escaped notice, she came forward trembling. Falling down before him, she explained in the presence of all the people why she had touched him and how she had been healed immediately. He said to her, 'Daughter, your faith has saved you. Go in peace.'" The Gospel of the Lord. So like I said, this is a little story amid a big story, but it is so important. So first of all, let's talk about the situation. So there was a huge crowd, but this woman with profound faith knew that if she even just touched part of Jesus's clothing, that he was so powerful that that remote contact with him would heal her, even though she had been sick for 12 years and had paid all of her money to doctors and they were unable to help her at all. But she had so much faith in Jesus. Now, we talked yesterday about how faith is an important part of Jesus being able to heal us. We need to believe in him. And what we see in this story is that profound faith in Jesus translates into profound power from Jesus in our lives. She simply touched him, touched his clothing, and she was healed. So if we have profound faith in Jesus and trust that he can do anything, he really can do anything, but he requires our faith first. The next thing I really treasure about this story is that Jesus stopped. There was a large crowd. Everyone was excited. They wanted him to get to this house and do this amazing miracle. Why are we stopping along the way? But he knew what had happened. He felt the power go out, and he wanted to see this woman. He stops. He finds her. He looks at her, and it is clear by what he says that he understands the years of painful suffering she has been through. He also understands her faith. Now, what is beautiful about this is that even in a huge crowd, Jesus sees and knows each one of us. We don't suffer alone. We don't suffer in an unseen way. Jesus sees it. He knows us. Those are the beautiful things about the story, that healing requires faith and that Jesus knows the ways in which you suffer. And so, my friends, here is my challenge for you today. I would like you to think about the ways that you need healing. And remember, we not only can be physically healed by Jesus, but we can be emotionally or spiritually healed by him too. Is there a relationship in your life that needs healing? Do you struggle with doubts in your faith that needs healing? Or do you have a physical wound or illness that needs healing? I want you to spend time thinking about this and then in private prayer, entrust that wound with faith to God. It might take time. It might take time to develop the profound faith of this woman that was suffering from hemorrhage. But if we approach Christ with true and genuine faith, he can do incredible things. That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God intended you to be. Just one more thing, Sprouts. I need your help. Following Easter, we are going to be having a special series here on the Catholic Sprouts podcast where we talk directly to people that have made the choice to enter religious life, specifically those that serve our church as priests or those that have become nuns. So, what I need from you are questions. If you could ask a priest or a nun anything, what would you ask them? Talk to your adult and have them submit your questions that I will use to talk to priests and nuns and share with you here on the podcast. So submit them at catholicsprouts.com/questions.